In today's conversation with new Penn State head football coach Bill O'Brien, he talks about his unique path to taking over one of the elite programs in college football. He understands the responsibility of leading the Penn State program and discusses what he's done to prepare himself for the job, including what he had to do his first year as a Patriot assistant. And just in case you're interested, Coach O'Brien tells us what he and Tom Brady were discussing that Sunday afternoon on the sidelines of a Patriot game last December. Coach, attending Brown, Ivy League school, certainly an unusual path for a coaching career. How has that background impacted the way you approach coaching?
Yeah, Brown was an interesting place because Brown was the type of place that encouraged you to discover different types of career paths that you might be interested in. People laugh and when I say it is kind of a coaching cradle because obviously Coach Paterno, Ron Brown, who was at Nebraska, myself, Brown meant a lot to me and helped me get my foot in the door, especially early in my coaching career.
You have 14 years of college experience, Maryland, Georgia Tech, Duke. How have those experiences helped you prepare for this job?
Well, I filled a lot of roles in those different places. I was a graduate assistant. I helped in the weight room. I've coached a lot of different positions, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I worked for great head coaches, George O'Leary, Ralph Friedgen, Bill Belichick, obviously in the NFL. I think I'm as prepared as I would ever have been for being a head coach.
You mentioned that you would have taken almost any job, perhaps, with Bill Belichick, but you went as an assistant, you rose to be a coordinator. Take us through that process.
When you work in New England, you know right away that you put your ego aside. So anybody that goes to New England and has a big ego doesn't last very long. You earn your stripes. So you come in there as a quality control guy, and if you keep your mouth shut and you do a good job and work extremely hard, you may have a chance if something opens up to be bumped up. Something happened there my second year where they moved some people around and I was elevated to wide receiver coach, and then Josh McDaniels got the Denver job and I was elevated to the quarterbacks coach, which really I was the coordinator for 3 years there. I just didn't have a title.
What was it like working with Tom Brady?
Competitive, great guy to work with. You had to work very, very hard to coach him. Without a doubt, the most challenging guy in a good way that I've ever coached. He demands that his teammates play and practice at a certain level. I'll stay in touch with him for the rest of my life, but I'm going to miss coaching him, miss being around him because I learned a ton from him and hopefully he learned a little bit from me.
How many times have you been asked, Coach, that conversation you had with Tom Brady on the sideline, what was that all about?
You start July 23rd. You go all the way. If you're lucky enough to get to the Super Bowl, you're talking about 6.5 months. We're like brothers. I'm his coach. We're very competitive people, and so arguments occurred.
How much of the fact that it was Penn State influenced your decision to leave the NFL?
To me, it was a huge part of it because I really love the NFL and I respect the NFL, and I was leaving a great organization where I had a great job. And so to me, it had to be Penn State because of what Penn State stands for and the standard that's been set here. Right away, I knew was a place that I would be comfortable being a head football coach and really wanted the job.
So now that you're here, what part of that NFL experience helps you the most at Penn State?
Overall, the evaluating of our roster, making sure what our needs are, what we have here right now, looking into the future, how many tailbacks do we need? Do we need a fullback? This guy's a senior, we need to replace him. When you work for Bill in the NFL, you're not just working on X's and O's in the offseason. Putting together a team was something that I really learned a lot from Bill.
How much transfers X and O-wise?
I think a good amount does. We're going to be a pro-style offense. The quarterback's going to be under center more than he's in the gun. A lot of things translate. The big thing I want our players to do is be able to play fast and not have to worry about 9,000 different assignments on every play. Just be able to go out and play fast and compete, and then we can find out who are the best football players going into the fall.
There's a sign on the door when you come in the building. I noticed it today. Know your role, do your job. Where did that philosophy start?
Well, a lot of that comes from New England. There were things that I really took from Bill that I have a lot of belief in because we won a lot of games there. And it was something that our players really bought into there. And before you know your role, you have to be explained your role. We've already done this in many ways to most of our players, is telling them what their roles are, telling them about the challenges of their roles, and telling them that if they can fulfill this role, it helps our football team, because that's what we want is a bunch of team players playing together.